SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Whether you're looking to start a career with no student loans or change careers to land one of the happiest jobs in the world, yep, that's construction, Build Mississippi can help. Visit buildmississippi.com to learn why a career in the trades deserves another look. Buildmississippi.com. Your future is waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21. I want you to believe me, baby.
What's up? Good morning. Thursday, December the 4th, 2025. Right before I walked out this morning and came into the studio, I looked at my wife. I was like, it's 3 weeks until Christmas. She said, oh, don't do that to me this morning. We've got a lot to do. You got a lot to do as well, but at least for the next little while, glad that you are spending part of the start of your day with us. C-Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. Online, cspire.com. You can see everything that they've got to offer. Glad to be with you to start the show, to start the day. Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Community Bank. Online, find them at communitybank.net. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Lance Tolbert, good morning.
Good morning. I kind of figured this time of year you would have your butler help out your wife with some of those things, but apparently she's on her own, huh? You got the butler going in different directions.
Yeah. When did you turn into Brian Haydad?
I'm messing with you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when you start off a day going 3 weeks till Christmas, you know, it's kind of an uphill battle. It's kind of like when you walk outside in this weather and you go, oh, my God, this is horrible. Now, you got to have the right perspective. Like, this is summer in Antarctica, you know, so you just got to look at it the right way.
There you go. Perspective. Yeah, it's kind of across much of the state of Mississippi today. I think yucky would be the way to describe it.
Yeah, great spot to be if you're in a duck blind and you want to nap, you know.
Okay.
I never was big on the sitting. Yeah, I don't mind the rain as long as you got cover, but they just don't like to fly much. I don't care what anybody says. You have to really be dedicated, which I am when I get to go.
Yeah,
I'm
with you.
Yeah, but it's more of a scenic day, you know. Sit out there and enjoy some rain and doze off about 8 times. Even turn on some Netflix, you know.
Yeah, I suppose if you're properly bundled and you got a good duck blind, that can be kind of a comfortable spot. I mean, I've drifted to sleep in a deer stand before. Everybody's had a good nap there. But there are more comfortable places to take a nap.
Yeah. Your bed.
Yes.
My dad would always ask me when I was a kid waking up. He would shake me at about 4 in the morning and go, boy, you going hunting this morning? And I'd look up at him and go, I don't think so, Dad. And he'd go, all right. And he never questioned that. You know, it was like 50-50, though. It was always 50-50. So that bed was always pretty comfy.
Right now, pull out the old Highway 82 east to west dividing line. If you're north of that, you may be okay. You got some scattered showers across North Mississippi. If you're south of that, rain jacket, umbrella, call in sick. I mean, there are areas where it's raining a little. There are areas where it's just kind of steady. And then there are areas like south and southeast of Jackson where it is getting after it this morning. Across the state today, Tunica, considerable cloudiness for you. Occasional rain showers this afternoon. High of 39 with winds out of the north and northeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour. 70% chance of rain. Aberdeen, you've got rain showers this morning. Going to turn into a more steady rain this afternoon with a high of 47. light and variable winds. 90% your rain chance. Can we do better for you, Vicksburg? Nope. Periods of rain, high of 45. Winds out of the northeast. 90% chance of rain, quarter inch or so. Petal, you're coming in at 45 degrees today, too, and based on the map, it looks like it's raindrops falling on your head right now. 45 for the... Hey, it's December. That's one thing, Lance, we could get on board with. It's like December feels kind of like it's supposed to feel in December.
I'm all in on that, too.
So there's another glass half full look at it for you, I suppose.
Oh, it's all about perspective with the weather, yeah. I like it, actually. I mean, it's just motivating a little bit. I mean, everything gets the same and it gets stale. You want some cold weather and some rain and get you ready for the holidays.
Yeah. The other place that I've been looking at the forecast all week is Missoula, Montana. That's where I'm headed this weekend.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I got Montana and South Dakota State in an FCS second-round playoff game. When I arrive in Missoula tonight, it looks like there's going to be a blanket of snow on the ground. 1 to 3 inches falling during the day, another 1 to 3 inches expected overnight. Tomorrow, 36 with rain and snow. Saturday, 39 with rain and snow.
They're used to it up there.
They are. They are. Talked with their coaches yesterday. They're like, it's not supposed to do anything during the game. So, we'll see. All right. Who was born on this day? Crazy Horse. 1840. The Oglala Sioux Indian chief, famous for the Battle of Little Bighorn, was born in Fort Robinson, Nebraska. I feel like Crazy Horse is a pretty good name.
That's awesome. That was always one of my favorites.
Yeah. Pappy Boyington was born this day in 1912, combat pilot for the Marine Corps. He was a fighter ace during World War II. Born in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Pappy Boyington was awarded the Medal of Freedom for leading a squadron in combat against Japanese forces in the Pacific Theater. He was, he was shot down in, was it like January of 44? And they didn't find him, or it was prisoner of war until August of that year, I think it was. Marissa Tomei is 61 years old today. The actress that, you go back to My Cousin Vinny, in the Bedroom, the wrestler, born in Brooklyn, New York. Jay-Z is 56 today. Rapper, record producer, alcohol maker. Vodka, I think. Maybe tequila, I don't know. Gangster. Husband of Jay-Z. Of Beyonce. Billionaire. A couple of cool songs. There's some people think like, his entire catalog's awesome. That's fine. Just kind of like his New York song. You're not a big Jay-Z guy?
I mean, I'm impressed with the business acumen of some of these guys. Man, they've taken it to another level.
Certainly have done that. Tyra Banks is 52 today. She was born in 1973, the supermodel and actress that got her start in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was Will Smith's cousin. Came in and appeared in about 7 episodes. Went on to host the Tyra Banks show after a modeling career, obviously. And America's Next Top Model and others. Tyra Banks, 52.
Don't forget about Higher Learning as you have there. That was a heck of a movie, man. Great football flick, right?
Okay.
Or college-y, good movie.
I absolutely forgot about that one. The first Thanksgiving, said to have happened on this day in 1619, 38 colonists from Berkeley Parish, England, disembark in Virginia, and they give thanks to God, considered by many the first Thanksgiving in the Americas. All right, we gotta talk about history for a second. That does not, to me, feel like the first Thanksgiving. I thought the first Thanksgiving was when the Pilgrims shared the meal with the Indians, and the Indians taught him about corn. What am I not remembering correctly?
That's the one I remember, but apparently we have some history that has changed.
Possible.
At least what we were taught for what is true.
Yeah.
It said the celebration was a harvest feast between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag people after the colonists' first successful harvest. So there is some conflicting information.
And when was that?
1621.
Okay. So this is just saying there were some folks that landed and prayed and may have eaten a bite, and they're claiming that they were the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah, by 2 years, apparently.
Yeah, and in December. Who does Thanksgiving in December? Come on, you schmucks. That's not right.
Yeah, the first actual Thanksgiving, I think, 1621, was with,
That's what we're going with. We're going with the original.
Yeah, it was after a letter from Edward Winslow. It was a formal deal. I think they got some documentation to back that one up.
I mean, we got kindergartners making hats and turkeys out of construction paper in November, not because of what they did in 1619. We need pilgrims, need Indians. You make the headband with the little thin deal and you cut out the feather on it out of the construction paper. You remember that? Britain's The Observer, first published in 1791, became the oldest Sunday newspaper in the world. We're back with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
That's getting there. That's getting more in.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's do it.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Morning. Good morning to you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. Hey, by the way, thanks for all the messages yesterday, for all the shares, for all the listens. I don't know that we've ever done an interview. In fact, I'm pretty sure that we haven't ever done an interview that got the immediate traction that our conversation with Keith Carter got yesterday, and got a lot of kind messages from a lot of you for that. So appreciate him doing it, and a lot of good information out there. Richard Cross, Lance Tolbert with you this morning. Jeff in Grenada. Richard, do you have a house dog, or are you more of a bearded dragon guy?
A cat. A bearded dragon.
We have two dogs, yes. They're kind of frou-frou dogs. We've got I guess technically it's excuse me, it's my daughter's dog that she got for Thanksgiving, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. A Cavapoo. His name is Coco. He thinks he's bigger than he actually is. Little, kind of lap dog, yaps a lot. He's a sandwich and a half, maybe two short of a picnic. But he's a sweet guy. Sweet guy.
Little cuckoo.
Yeah, just a sandwich or two short. Couple of playing cards short of a full deck. And then we've got Mac, who is a golden doodle. And he's a sweet fella and is scared of the not actually seeing his shadow, but the idea of seeing his shadow scares him to death.
Huh.
Big ol' scaredy cat. Love him.
He just needs to be loved on, though. Yeah.
Man, well, he gets plenty of that. He goes to work with Jane almost every day. And he's skittish in her store of people coming in. But then there's some people, he doesn't like boys, with a few exceptions. It took him a long time to warm up to me.
You got him as a pup?
Yeah, he was about 6 months old when we got him. So a little older than you normally would get him. And, I love him, though. I mean, he's great. But, man, Lance, he won't get in the car. He loves to go in the car, but he won't get in.
It's just not his thing is jumping and...
Like, now he'll get out. You open the door, and he just plops down, graceful as can be. He'll walk to the door and expect you to pick him up and put him in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are always fun, especially when you get like a 100-pound lab. It loves that. You know, I've had a couple of those.
He's probably 65 pounds.
Pretty big old boy.
So. Yeah, he's a big boy.
So he can totally jump in if he wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Just play in a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, animals, especially dogs, because you get to, cats are a little different. They're so habitual as well, but they kind of do their own thing. But dogs, watching them develop their habits over years, it is funny. Like Hawk loves to run in circles, like a big circle, until you tell him to stop, and then it's just you're like, no, stop that. You got to stop. That's driving me crazy. But man, they're getting their little habits, their little circular way of thinking.
Yeah,
hard to break them too.
Mm-hmm. It is, absolutely is. Sean says, but do your dogs live with you, or do you rent them from the kennel?
I rent mine, yeah.
No,
for PR reasons.
They absolutely live with us. They do. And by the way, I feel like there's little judgment when it comes to dogs, but there's some people like, oh, you just got a couple of frou-frou dogs. We do. But there is a reason. My wife is allergic to labs, and so we had to do the hypoallergenic. They both stay inside. Neither of them shed. So
I think
that works for us.
I think my sister's is a Labradoodle. He's kind of a small dude, but man, he is a trip.
Yeah.
He has a lot of fun.
Shaq Bully says a golden doodle. Whoever would have thunk it? Yeah, there's a time, Shaq Bully, where you know what you would have called a golden doodle? Mutt. You know what you would have called a cavapoo? A mutt.
Specialty breed.
So somebody says, Richard, I've got a 65, 70-pound lab just like that. We have a Frenchie that thinks she's a Rottweiler. Why do little dogs act that way? It's a good question. I just appreciate the confidence that they have.
Yeah, they have it now. A little miniature Pomeranian for 20 years named Rocky, and that guy thought he was as big as Jupiter, and he acted it, man. I mean, nothing ever bothered him.
Yeah. Jim helped a neighbor drag an 8-point out yesterday evening.
He sent some good pics, too. We got confirmation from Jim.
That's a nice deer. Yeah. It is a nice deer. You don't hear many people having to, like, occasionally you'll have somebody that'll have to carry one out or drag one out. But I feel like, generally speaking, somebody got a four-wheeler or a side-by-side or something, and they're getting out pretty close to it.
I guarantee you get down around Natchez and Port Gibson into those hollers, you better have a nice winch and be at the top of those hollers, because that's a long way down. A buddy of mine, they hunted there and have for many years, and it is an ordeal to get a big one out of the bottom of those places, because it's a long way. I mean, you don't realize how steep, it is once you get south of Vicksburg around those hills.
Yeah, it does.
It is something else.
Absolutely does.
And it's beautiful, but, buddy, it is tough to get in and out of.
Down around Grand Gulf?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Rocco runs our house. That's from Kevin.
That's a good name for a dog.
Is that a little Chihuahua, I think?
I don't know what that is, man. Looks like
certainly looks like a Chihuahua, but it might be something else.
I think that's a Chupacabra.
Michael in Poplarville is the proud owner of 2 French bulldogs. And a dog that made an 11-hour road trip and loved every minute of it. All right.
Yeah, I had to do that with 2 labs once in a Toyota 4Runner, and about halfway there, one of them had eaten something that turned in his tummy.
No.
The worst
Stop.
ride ever.
Stop. We are not going down that road, Lance. I can't do it.
That was the worst ride ever, man. Goodness.
Oh.
Winter, heat.
All right. Let's, were there other birthdays or James Monroe was elected today. Oh, the $1 Million Quartet, 1956, impromptu recording session by the $1 Million Quartet. Elvis, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Johnny Cash. Sun Studios in Memphis. It was once and only once. Can you imagine being there? 1971, the Montreux Casino in Montreux, Switzerland, burns to the ground after a fan fires a flare gun during a concert by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. The incident inspires the rock band Deep Purple's song Smoke on the Water. Do, 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 do. It's a good song. Led Zeppelin shut it down this day in 1980, 2 months after the death of drummer John Bonham. And a year ago today, Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, was gunned down outside a hotel in Manhattan. Targeted attack. That's a year ago today. Well, let's take a look at a few news headlines. The man who killed his pregnant girlfriend in Jackson was a couple of years ago, back in 2022. Going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Hinds County District Attorney Jody Owens reported Wednesday that a grand jury found Daniel Jones guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was given 2 life sentences, arrested in connection with the January 22 shooting of Breonna Carter. Was pregnant at the time. The gunfire rang out Bishop Avenue area of Jackson. Carter was shot multiple times. She was 8 months pregnant. Transported to the hospital, told law enforcement that he had done it before she passed away. He was later located, handcuffed. Says he'll serve his full sentence. Feels like a good time to bring Sparky back. I mean, are we out of the stuff that goes in the plunger for the lethal injection? Why are we going 2 life sentences for this guy? Why are we wasting money for a lifetime in the Mississippi Department of Corrections for a guy that shot multiple times his girlfriend who was pregnant 8 months at the time? Well, we take care of business and pass on judgment to our maker. Hey, it's disgusting.
From theseabrook.com.
Since you're up early, you get the news first. Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
I really love, this feels like we have a big family group text going where somebody mentioned a dog and all of a sudden everybody in the group text feels compelled to send a picture of their dog. And I'm here for it. Lance is here for it. We love it.
Yes, love it.
We love it. A lot of dog pictures coming our way on the C Spire text line. Benji, little fella in a chair, looking like he's sticking his head out between the bars of a jail cell, hoping for beef jerky, says CC. Tim sends us a picture of his Sheltie. Mose sends us a picture of his golden retriever. Hogman says we should castrate the guy that was going to jail first, apropos of nothing. I mean, it was tied to the story we were talking about.
Definitely.
We get a deer score. What is it?
141.
Yeah, no, it's a great score. 141 and 6/8. I was Trying to blow the picture up.
It's hard to. I know that's at least it looks a 10 at least.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that left side. Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like a 10 or 11.
I was going to say 9 or 10. Whichever it is, beautiful deer,
Yeah, beauty.
young fella.
Great spread on that one.
That was gorgeous. Jeff in Grenada sends us a picture of a lizard. Jeff, I don't think that's yours. I think you did a Google search. I don't think that's yours. Rusty said he had a mini Chihuahua that would herd cows. Thought he was a Rottweiler. How about this? I'm too old and tired to drag a 200-pound deer out of the woods anymore. Four-wheeler for the win.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I tell you that the winch on a four-wheeler or a side-by-side is your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. The dog that we thought might have been a Chihuahua, but like a wiry-haired Chihuahua, he says, it's a mutt. Okay. Sometimes the best kind. Oh, that is not a golden retriever. That is half cur, half Malamute.
That's a pelt on that one.
Does that not look like a big golden, like a big golden retriever to you?
I agree. I would have thought that was a golden retriever, especially with all that hair. Goodness.
Yeah.
That thing's made for the winter.
All right, I need to give you a couple of news headlines and a couple of sports headlines. Carroll County has been added officially to the Regional Economic Development Foundation tied to Greenwood. Carroll County Board of Supervisors entered into a formal agreement with the Greenwood-LaFleur Economic Development Foundation, added Carroll County to the foundation formally, and they've been working together for like 3 decades, collaborating on economic development initiatives, and just decided, you know what? It's time that we put a ring on it. Yep. They've been dating. They've been living together. Might have even been engaged happily together as a couple, and decided we need to go down to the JP's office and get us a certificate and put a ring on it. So that's what they did. Sure that the people at the Greenwood-LaFleur Economic Development Foundation appreciate that's me characterizing it in that way. Good news for them going forward. Barry White is the guy that has to fill the rather large shoes left behind from Katie Blunt as new executive director of the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Board announced that Barry White was the selection for that. He's a longtime preservation leader, current director of the state agency's Historic Preservation Division. White spent more than a decade working across programs that identify, document, and preserve Mississippi's historic places. You know what the best kind of historic preservation person is? The one that also has common sense. And I mean that like complimentary, like the role that the historic preservation folks play is so important. You don't want all your history gone. You don't want those old houses torn down. But when you got the run-down barn that has no historical significance, that's falling in on itself and is a danger to people around you, somebody ought to just be able to go, yeah, you can tear that down, clean it out, burn it down. What shouldn't take an act of Congress. White's got a lot of experience, Barry White does, so wish him the best in that role, leading the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Madison County woman has been sentenced to the maximum penalty allowed by law after admitting to setting her boyfriend on fire earlier this year. Did you hear this story? District Attorney Bubba Bramlett announced Wednesday that Kalina Stubbs was going to the pokey. She pleaded guilty in Madison County to one count of aggravated assault. I feel like there should be a more serious name for this charge. January 16th of last year, deputies with the Madison County Sheriff's Department responded to a home where a man was found with severe burns across his torso, upper arms, and face. Deputies immediately noticed his clothing was not burned, raising concerns about how the injuries occurred. Stubbs, the girlfriend, told investigators that, well, I guess we're saying wife now. I don't know if we're using that change that term interchangeably. Stubbs told investigators her husband had fallen into the fireplace while holding a bottle of lighter fluid. However, deputies noted a bottle of lighter fluid sitting on the mantel, showing no signs of exposure to flames, contradicting her account. And she admitted to changing the victim's clothes before calling 911. So the victim was sent to UMMC, transferred to multiple burn units outside the state of Mississippi, months recovering from third-degree burns to the point that he couldn't talk, and when he finally was able to, told investigators that Stubb had doused him with lighter fluid and set him on fire during an argument. Crews will officially break ground on State Route 7. We call it Highway 7 in Oxford, widening the roadway between Belk Boulevard and County Road 370. Going to take it to 4 lanes. Maybe even with a turn lane in the middle in some places. The multi-million-dollar project will include grading, drainage, bridge construction, and paving work. Not cheap, $138,700,000. Talbot Brothers Construction of Nesbitt will do the job. Not only is it not cheap, it's not fast. After waiting for roughly 322 years for construction to begin, construction is expected to be complete by the fall of 2029. It hasn't actually taken 322 years to start. And I know that because in the early days of Ole Miss baseball, they once played a game in Water Valley. And that was the route they took. Horse and buggy. That and a cookie will give you a cookie. Morning sports. It's a weird vibe this morning, Lance. I don't know, man.
Everybody's inside in the weather going.
Feeling a little salty, a little sarcastic.
Yeah, you should. We're getting close to Friday, you know.
Your morning sports update is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. Your home for family fun, casino thrills, and live entertainment. Hoops last night for Mississippi State as part of the ACC-SEC Challenge. Good night for the Bulldogs. They had to go to Atlanta, McCamish Pavilion on the campus of Georgia Tech, and the Bulldogs brought their A game with them. 11 points from Jamarian Davis-Fleming, 11 from Brandon Walker, 14 from Jaden Epps. Josh Hubbard goes for 25. 4 of Mississippi State's 5 starters in double figures, and they helped the Bulldogs to a 12-point win over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. 85-73 the final as Mississippi State improves to 4-4 on the year. They got to start playing better and fast, and last night was a good step in that direction. Other scores from around the SEC: Arkansas over Louisville 89-80. Bama beat Clemson 90-84 in Tuscaloosa. Vanderbilt stays undefeated with an 88-69 win over SMU. Auburn goes to 7-2 with an 11-point victory over NC State. LSU stays perfect, a 78-69 overtime win over Boston College. Virginia topped Texas by 19, and we talked about the win for Mississippi State. Hoops scores in the SEC-ACC Challenge that finished up last night. Got a lottery update coming for you next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
I'm gonna hit the highway. They call Highway 49.
From the Venable Glass.
To Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi and the Super Talk app.
Powerball last night, which is good news for you because that means you got a chance to win a big old jackpot on Saturday up to $820 million, an estimated cash value of $383,500,000. You heard me say yesterday that I would work today despite the fact that I won the jackpot. I was talking about next Monday. That's what I meant. Last night's numbers were 1, 14, 20, 46, and 51. The Powerball 26, the power play multiplier, was 3. Single ticket sold in New Jersey won the Mega Millions on Tuesday, I believe it was. Estimated $90 million jackpot, estimated cash value $41,900,000. There are a dozen scratch-off games that are going to end in January. The lottery's announced the official end date for 12 games, along with details for their upcoming second chance promotion drawings. On Tuesday, January 6th, the final day to buy the following tickets. Fast Money, Hit It Big, 10K Payout, Ruby Sevens, Aces High, Cruising the Coast 2, Extreme Payday, Big Money Bingo, Cruising the Coast 3, Sapphire, Blue, and Moolah. Second chance promotional drawing for all 12 of those games will happen Thursday, April 9th. You'll need to enter your non-winning tickets to April 6th, by April 6th to qualify. Easier than ever to do that with the Mississippi Lottery app. It is available in the App Store and in Google Play. It's a lot of games going away, which means there are a lot of new games that are on the way. Or at least I'm assuming that's what that means. That's your Mississippi Lottery update, mslottery.com. Andy Gipson going to join us this morning. The Commissioner of Ag and Commerce right here in the great state of Mississippi will be by about 7:30. Spend some time with him talking. I recently wrote, Commissioner Gipson did, an opinion piece, an op-ed about PERS and the need to stabilize and strengthen the program. Had some legislative movement on that a year ago with the addition of the Tier 5 system. Is that enough? Is that a good way to go about it? What about the issue that we talked about last week with first responders seeking a carve-out? Should teachers get a carve-out? Are there other groups that should get a carve-out as well? Folks tend to get a little warm under the collar when you start talking about PERS, and understandably so. So we'll get into that and get an update on our farmers kind of post-harvest and maybe some numbers from the fair with a couple of months in the rear view mirror. Talking about some sports headlines a second ago. Pretty cool one here. L.C. Greenwood is potentially headed to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He is a finalist for the 2026 class. Born in Canton, standout at Rogers High School before continuing his career at Arkansas A&M, which is now Arkansas Pine Bluff. He was a 10th round pick of the 1969 NFL-AFL draft by Pittsburgh, went on to become one of the best defensive ends that ever played for the Steelers. Across 13 seasons, 110 tackles, 14 fumble recoveries. He retired a year before sacks became an official stat. But some of the good folks at Pro Football Reference have gone back and tried to kind of reconstruct what would have been. L.C. Greenwood would have had 78 sacks in his career. 6 times a Pro Bowler, 2 times All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 74, 75, 78, 79. Passed away, L.C. Greenwood did, at the age of 67, buried in his hometown of Canton. He is in the seniors category as a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that Seniors Committee, Veterans Committee will make the determination as to whether he gets in. This is Conference Championship weekend with college football. You got 2 games tomorrow. Troy and James Madison 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. That's the Sun Belt Championship. And then at 7 o'clock on ABC, North Texas and Tulane from Yulman Stadium in New Orleans. That's the American Conference Championship, kicks off at 7. Then on Saturday, back to back to back to back with a little bit of overlap. BYU Texas Tech from the Big 12 game is sold out. They're expecting biggest crowd ever in that game's championship history. From AT&T Stadium in Arlington, kicks off at 11 on ABC. 3 on ABC. SEC Championship game from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Georgia and Alabama. 7 o'clock on Fox, number 2 Indiana, number 1 Ohio State, a battle of unbeatens in Indianapolis. Get in the door price for that ball game is $641. A skosh more than the get in the door price for the ACC Championship game at 7 on ABC between Duke and Virginia, where you can go and watch in person for just $38. We'll be back, 7 o'clock hour on the way. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi, and the Super Talk app.
Just like gold, but don't you hear me cry? Ooh.
7 o'clock hour. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Thank you for starting your day with us. It is chilly outside this morning. For much of the state, you are dealing with rain, in some cases heavy rain. Would encourage you to give yourself a few extra minutes. I mean, I know sometimes we feel like we can't be late, but just be late if you got to. Slow down a little bit. Be careful on the roads. Make sure you're paying attention to others and driving defensively and all of those things. Pleasure to be with you. Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community Bank. Rooted in our community, communitybank.net. At Community Bank, we're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, your trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've been rooted in community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. Whether it's opening your first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business, we're here every step of the way. We're dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC. A lot of interaction with you this morning on the C Spire text line. We always appreciate that. 601-879-4395. You want to send us a picture from the woods? Ladies, gentlemen, you want to? In a deer stand this morning? Give us a shot from what it looks like. Foggy, rainy. Hope you're in a warm, dry spot. You want to shoot us a picture of your dog? Feel free. We've got a bunch of those. Just shoot us a message on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. C Spire, inspired by you. This hour of the show, this hour of Mornings with Richard Cross, brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR benefits and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services customized to you. Give you a interface, web-based interface where you can go in and access all the information that you need. Your employees can access all of their information, and really makes the process smoother. Let them tell you how. 601-206-7966 or MWGEmployerServices.com. Lance, I read a headline last night, and I thought about this a lot. And I have decided I want to look at Russia-Ukraine through a different lens. And here's the lens. Let me read you the headline and then tell you what I'm thinking. And you are more than welcome to tell me that I am way off base on this. The headline from the Associated Press under the world news category. Europeans accuse Putin of feigning interest in peace after talks with U.S. envoys. It's like, It feels pretty on brand for Vladimir Putin. So how did he get to that point? Why did we think that there was progress? Is there progress? Because some of the stories coming out of this, quotes like this from the Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom, Yvette Cooper, the Russian leader should end the bluster and the bloodshed and be ready to come to the table and to support a just and lasting peace. Quotes out of Moscow, Yuri Ushakov said that talks with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were positive, but he didn't elaborate. Spokespeople for the United States said that it feels like it's moving in the right direction, but they're not there yet. And here's what I'm wondering. Here's my question. And I'm not saying this to make Donald Trump into something that he is not. I'm genuinely curious if the only person that actually wants the war between Ukraine and Russia to end is Donald Trump.
I don't disagree, yeah.
But like in terms of global leaders, because you've had a lot of leaders globally that have given lip service to the idea that this war needs to end. The bloodshed needs to stop. The killing needs to stop. The dying needs to stop. The destruction of buildings and schools and property and hospitals and pets and everything else, it needs to stop. It's been going on for 4 years. Putin keeps bombing. Ukraine keeps bombing. Ukraine keeps says we're going to fight for our independence. We're going to fight for our land. Russia keeps saying it's not your land. We're going to take it. You can't do anything to stop us. Ukraine wants security agreements. Russia does not want Ukraine in NATO. We and much of Europe have poured billions and billions and billions of dollars into a war that is not ours, and yet we do it because, well, sometimes I don't know why, other than Ukraine is kind of an ally, certainly is an ally to much of Europe. And when I say an ally, I just mean a friend. It's not like there's a whole lot they do in response.
I have a...
But give me just a second. Yeah. I know it's a long-winded point. The European leaders, every single time, it feels like we are close to a peace agreement, without fail, they swoop in and they go, oh, that's too friendly to Russia. Oh, you're giving up too much. Oh, you're asking Ukraine to... At some point, and I understand, you got to fight for what's yours. You don't want to give Russia an inch because then they're going to think they're going to take a mile. But at some point, you care more about the lives of people than you do your borders. Then the land that is kind of questionable as to who it actually belongs to. Russia's saying they want to pull it back into the motherland. Ukraine going, no, Donetsk is ours. And are we going to pretend like Ukraine can actually take that land back on its own? They can't. They can only do it with our help and with the help of all of Europe. Do we want to get in a fight with Russia over this? The point being is, every time it feels like we're close on a peace deal, and I understand that Vladimir Putin is a scumbag and a liar, and you can't trust him, and a terrible person, and a dictator, and all of those things. I get that. But we've been close on a bunch of occasions to ending the fighting, the killing, the needless death, the destruction. And every single time we get close, Emmanuel Macron or Keir Starmer or whoever else from the gaggle of European politicians go, oh, no, that's too much for Ukraine. You're giving too much to Russia. And I'm wondering, back to my original question, if Donald Trump is legitimately the only person that, given truth serum, 100% telling the truth, is actually the only leader in the free world that ultimately, really deep down, wants and is trying to make this war stop. Sorry, Lance, it was long-winded.
No,
I
agree. I would imagine that if you held a free and true election and Zelensky had to actually run against somebody, I think that would change the optics a great deal for Russia. And personally, I don't think Putin really likes Zelensky very much. And you've had 4 years of Zelensky in there, and not much has happened. They haven't won a lot of territory, spent a lot of money defending themselves, and lost a lot of lives. And I also know that Ukraine is under a massive corruption scandal and investigation where he's losing cabinet members and right-hand people left and right. So, I mean, I understand that this is a delicate situation, but you also have a guy that should have been running for election in this and holding an office legally. And I think that, Ukraine must get back to, even though it's at war, following its own constitution, democratically elected politicians, and getting back to business as usual. Because I do think that has something to do with this stalemate, so to speak.
Ceasefire text line. Got a bunch of messages from you. Bunch of messages. We'll get to those coming up next. Andy Gipson joins us at 7:30. He'll stay with us through the end of the hour. I'm not sure what direction we'll go for the 8 o'clock hour. Might have like a dealer calls. You bring the topics that you want to talk about. Have an AMA, an Ask Me Anything on the ceasefire text line. I don't know. We'll see where we go as we roll through the rest of the show this morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi, presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
On your radio, on our app, or on your smart speaker. We're always free. Super Talk Mississippi, your home for Mornings with Richard Cross.
Welcome back. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and Supertalk TV. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget that later today, Gerard will be in Cleveland. It's the annual 50 Nights of Lights downtown Cleveland. They light it up absolutely gorgeous in that hometown in Mississippi, Cleveland, Mississippi. Middays with Gerard Gibbert there today from 10 until 1. Is there anything more satisfying than when an elected official, a politician, tells you what they really believe? Not talking points, not polished campaign rhetoric, stump speeches. I mean, what they really, truly believe. The governor of the state of California, in a well-tailored suit, white shirt, top collar unbuttoned, Silver fox, gray hair, slicked back just right, tan just right, legs crossed at an interview with the New York Times, and I think that's Andrew Ross Sorkin that was doing the interview. He told you what he actually, really, deep down believes. You ready? Here you go.
We have a party that I think needs to design and develop a compelling economic vision for the future where people feel included, to reconcile the fact that if we don't democratize our economy, we're not going to save democracy. And I don't think it's healthy that we have 10% of people that own 2/3 of the wealth in this country. I don't think it's sustainable practice. The folks watching Mr. Beast, disproportionately 30-year-olds, the first generation in history not doing better than their parents. There's some underlying issues here that have to be addressed. We have an economy that is broken for too many people.
We need to democratize our economy. What does that mean? What does it mean to democratize our economy? So this video clip was not something that was AI generated. It's not something where Gavin Newsom got caught on a hot mic or had somebody surreptitiously video him in a private conversation where nobody knew it and then posted it online. No, this video comes from the New York Times and is posted on X by Gavin Newsom. So he posts the video and tells you to, in all caps, watch, and follows it up with, just in case you don't understand his words when he says them, he puts them in print on X also. If we don't democratize our economy and allow for the distribution of wealth, our democracy will die. Some big words. If we don't democratize our economy and allow for the distribution of wealth, our democracy will die. Those are powerful words. Those are strong words. You know how to shorten that sentence and make it more easily understandable? It's called socialism. The redistribution of the wealth for the greater good. Everybody gets the same. I am open to understanding. Like, I don't think just on the surface, and my guess is, if you're being honest, you don't either. You don't get the impression that Gavin Newsom is stupid. You may disagree with him. You may think his viewpoints are silly, but I don't think you just listen to him or look at him. Somebody with the command of the English language the way he does, somebody who's risen to the... You can't just be stupid. Bernie Sanders is not a stupid man. I don't even think that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a stupid woman. Sometimes she says things that makes me question that. Now, Jasmine Crockett, I think, is stupid. I really do. But I don't think AOC is. I don't think Bernie Sanders is. I don't think Gavin Newsom is. And these are people who, seemingly with functioning brains, have somehow come to the idea that the best path forward for the United States of America is socialism. And what they really mean is government control. The government distribution of what you need. We'll take care of you. We're better than you. We're smarter than you. We'll handle it. We're going to give you what you need. At the core, that's what we're talking about here with these ideas of socialism from AOC, from Bernie Sanders, from Gavin Newsom and others. So my question to you is why? You go to a deer stand today, you get a quiet minute today, you're just sitting there thinking. Like, actually think about this. Because that's the question that I've got right now. Like, why? There's no country in human history that can show you that socialism works as an effective form of government. We, the United States of America, are a democratic republic. Not just a straight democracy, a constitutional republic. And it's proven to work. Communism doesn't. Socialism doesn't. Marxism doesn't. Monarchy ultimately doesn't. But you have smart people, at least book smart people, like Gavin Newsom and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, and others who are openly saying, no, socialism is the way to go. To the point that Gavin Newsom says if we don't democratize our economy and allow for the distribution of wealth, our democracy will die. It runs counter to everything that as Americans we have believed for 250 years. That you've got the opportunity to go out and make something of yourself. That you won't be hampered by the laws of the land. That you will have the freedom to say what you want and to be able to do, for the most part, what you want to do. That you can go out and build something and be rewarded for it. You can go out and sell something and be compensated for it. You can go out and do an honest day's work and get an honest day's wage. You can hire people to do an honest day's work and then pay them an honest day's wage. We can get off in the weeds if you want to about what an honest day's wage is. The point is, it's a capitalistic society. I am not mad at Elon Musk for being worth $300 billion. I'm not mad at Mark Zuckerberg for going out and, with the help of a couple of other people, inventing Facebook and then turning it into the behemoth that it has become. I'm not mad at Henry Ford for inventing the automobile and having the ability to turn that into a massive and successful company. And benefiting from taking risks. Why do we vilify successful people? Why do we say to people, you look how you're like, man, they're rich. Okay. How'd they get there? They worked their butt off. They took risks, calculated risks. They did what the normal, average person wasn't willing to do. Vilify them. They should share with others because they have been blessed. They should share with others if they choose to share with others because they have the means to share with others because of their own hard darn work.
From theseabrook.com.
This segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Where you come first for news. Fast and free. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
I was only 17 back then, but it seems like I knew more than I do now. I can't say he didn't tell me this city life's a hard road to hoe.
Good to be with you. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm, SuperTalk TV, across the Magnolia State, a dozen radio stations. Thanks so much for making us part of your day. We are joined this morning in studio by Andy Gipson. He is the commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Agriculture and Commerce. Always enjoy the time. Mr. Commissioner, good morning.
Great to be back with you, Richard. Good morning to you and everybody out there on this wet, rainy day.
I saw a picture from a deer stand from you that was online a few days ago. Has it been a good start to deer season?
It has been. You know, my children have done better than I have so far, but I'm enjoying it. I plan to spend a little more time out there this weekend, Lord willing.
There you go. Be a good weekend for it. Cooling off a little bit. Yeah. Some boys looking for some girlfriends out there, which seems to make them all move around a little bit. They'll move, and they won't worry about who's in the deer stand. That's right. A lot to get to. You had an op-ed recently about the Mississippi retirement system, PERS, and the need to stabilize that and kind of strengthen it and make it sustainable going forward. I was looking at a chart recently about credit ratings for states all across the country. Mississippi does not have the highest, the AAA credit rating as a state. Now, it's good enough credit that you can go out and you can buy a house, you can start a business, whatever. Right. But if you want to go, I don't know what you can do at a AA plus rating that you can't do at a AAA rating. Right. But I do see other states that have got that AAA. Why is that our credit rating?
The state has a credit rating just like everybody out there in Mississippi does. So if you have liabilities, if you have debts, you got to make sure you can pay those debts. And one of the largest liabilities that the state of Mississippi has and obligations, and it's a sacred obligation to our retirees, to hardworking employees who are looking to retire, that's our state PERS retirement system. Mm-hmm. And that retirement system has, over the years, been a huge issue, and it continues to. In recent years, the legislature has looked at ways to try to enhance it, to increase it, but frankly, it's underfunded. And according to those reports that analytics are putting out, analysts and credit ratings experts, Mississippi's funded rating of that fund is actually only 56% today compared to a lot of states that are out there, 80, 90%. A lot of states who had excess cash back after COVID actually paid into their funds to enhance that funded ratio. And in Illinois, the funding ratio is 50%. Mississippi's 56%. So you had some recent negative outlook, discussions among folks like Moody's Investor Services. And looking at the state, the question is, can the state afford to pay this retirement system? And it's a huge issue, and we have so many great things happening in Mississippi, but I think this is one that we need to make sure we take care of and address not only for the sake of the folks who are in the PERS system, so many great teachers, former teachers, retired teachers, law enforcement, firefighters, but for folks who are in the system and expecting to retire, and also future employees. And we want to make sure that we keep this fund flush, and it'll also help the people of Mississippi, because if we get a downgrade, it's going to, just like you get a downgrade on your credit, you can't get credit, you can't borrow money, we wouldn't be able to fund the bonded projects in a way that we would need to. So it affects all taxpayers, and what we don't want is a negative credit rating on the state of Mississippi. And I am encouraged, as I said in my op-ed, there has been a lot of attention to that, to try to address it in recent years. And I think, though, that the recent reports that came out from Moody's in the spring, and then also other reports that have come out this fall, have indicated there's more work to be done. And we have to make it a priority for the sake of all of our retirees, for the sake of our employees, and for the sake of the state of Mississippi's financial health. It's a big, big issue.
I feel like sometimes when we talk about PERS and we start talking about unfunded liabilities and, percentage of amount, it scares people into thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to get my check next month?
Right.
And that's not really accurate. I mean, there is money to pay what is owed right now, what is due today. So it's not a crisis in the sense that we can't pay the people what they have earned, what they have saved this week or next month or even next year.
Right.
but it's the long-term sustainability, right? 20, 30 years down the road that's a legitimate concern?
That's exactly right, Richard. Nobody needs to panic about this, but people do need to be concerned about it. And frankly, I'm concerned about it as an agency head because a lot of people in our agency are, about to retire, and they're looking at this and wondering, how's it going to work for them? And also, with the recent changes that were put in place, with changes that will go into effect March the 1st, that's going to take away some of the former type retirement system. It's going to be harder, I think, to hire folks into the system who will continue to pay into that system as we look to the future. And I know that the law enforcement out there is concerned about this, firefighters, first responders, and rightly should be.
Yeah.
But we just got to make it a priority and fund it. And make it that priority that it needs to be, not just 1 year, not just 2 years, but over a long period of time. The state of Mississippi, the legislature is going to have to make that commitment. When I was in the legislature, we didn't have any money to do anything with. The state was pretty well. The state was back during that recession, broke. That's right. Now the good news is Mississippi does have a lot of excess funds. Revenues continue to outpace estimates, and so this is an opportunity we can't miss to support our great state employees, retirees, and frankly the entire state of Mississippi's credit rating is at issue here.
All right, so I guess in terms of advancing this conversation, the state of Mississippi is in a good financial position. Not a great position, but a good position with some excess money, some fully funded rainy day fund. If you get into a really bad spot, and then a decision to make about where some of that excess money is spent. And in the case of a year ago, it didn't get spent.
Right.
So we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah.
But when you say we need to fully fund PERS, or we need to make sure that this system is whole, I feel like the natural follow-up question is, okay, well, how do you propose that we do that? Mm-hmm. Because while we're in a good financial position, I don't think there's a money tree at the Capitol with unlimited funds. I mean, I think you still got to decide where you spend, what you fund, and what you don't fund. And so in saying we need to take care of this, how do you go about doing that? What do you cut out?
It's a matter of priorities, and there's always I served in the legislature, and I know how this process works as good or better than anybody else. Everybody wants something, and it's a matter of making it a priority. And there's nothing that's a greater priority than the financial health of the state of Mississippi for the long term. I'm thinking 5, 10, 20 years down the road. And I think the legislature gets that, and I do sense that there are a lot of legislators and leadership that want to do something about this. When you talk to folks on the PERS board, there is a sense by some of the members on the board and the analysts also that as much as $200 million a year should be devoted to this over the next 10 years. If you put $200 million in, they tell me over 5 years. What you're going to have is about an 80% funded system. And if you do it over 10 years, you're going to get to 90%, which is in line with our sister states around us that have put additional funds into their system. So we got to get there, and it's a matter of priorities. $200 million is a number that I've heard. I've heard other proposals that are out there to put a big chunk this year, and then maybe smaller amounts over the next years. And I want to give a shout out to Senator Daniel Sparks. I talked to him at length about this the other day, and I really appreciate his attention to this, his involvement in it. I think he's got a really good idea of where this system is and what needs to happen. And I'm encouraged to hear that, and I hope that folks will follow through with it. Talking about it's one thing, getting it done is another thing. It's got to be made a priority, and I look forward to seeing and hearing what will be done as we go through the process in the next couple of years.
And I don't know that there's anybody that spent more time on that than Senator Sparks has. I mean, he is way off in the weeds in the numbers in terms of what it looks like. But you added Tier 5 a year ago during the legislative session, the 2025 session. But we're already hearing from groups. I mean, you mentioned the First Responders Association going, hold on, this doesn't work. We can't recruit people in with this type of a retirement system compared to what we've had.
Yeah.
Do you carve something out for them? Do you carve something out for the teachers?
Something's got to be done. And as one who has run an agency, as an agency head, I can tell you it is going to have an impact on our ability to hire folks. when you take that retirement system away, we're already not paying or not able to pay folks what the private sector can pay. You take that out, and you've got a situation where it's going to be increasingly hard to hire good folks into the system who can continue to pay. And it's not going to be any harder for anybody than it will be for law enforcement and firefighters who are putting their lives literally on the line, first responders. And don't forget our teachers out there as well. This has got to be addressed, and I look forward to seeing how it will be in the days ahead.
We've got a little more coming up with Andy Gipson, the commissioner from the Department of Agriculture and Commerce. A big announcement, we think, that is coming for farmers next week, and dates announced for the Dixie National Rodeo. We're back with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Bust loose from this ball and chain. I'm a hard working man. I got it all on the line for a piece of the promised land.
Where you come first for news. Fast and free. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
We're in cold water and we're in too deep. Yeah, we're in cold water. Say we in too deep. These are chilling times.
Good to be with you this morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Commissioner Andy Gipson is my guest from the Mississippi Department of Agriculture and Commerce. I mentioned before the break, we think a rather large announcement is coming from the President of the United States next week as it pertains to or something that will help our farmers. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, I was on a call yesterday with the administration, and there will be, we're told, an announcement by the President, by USDA from the Oval Office one day next week, early next week, and it's going to help our farmers, particularly our row crop farmers that are hurting so bad due to this, China trade war that we've got to win. And in the meanwhile, our President has been working hard behind the scenes. The government shutdown that happened back in October and November did result in a bill that reopened the government, and part of that is going to be to the advantage of our farmers who have been suffering and who frankly need that without a farm bill that's been passed for the last several years, there's been a very great lack of certainty on what type of programs are available, and I'm excited. I can't say a whole lot about it, but it's going to be good news for our farmers from our president, our great president, Donald J. Trump, and Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins next week. Yeah.
Well, you may have just answered this. I was going to say, is there any more detail or what that money may look like, or we're going to have to wait on that?
We're going to have to wait on that. I'm not at liberty to...
Stealing the president's thunder might not be the best plan.
But I want to give a great big shout-out and thank you to President Trump for what he has done, what he is doing, and for Secretary Rollins as well. So you just have to stay tuned for that. But our farmers need, our row crop producers are the ones who are hurting. Soybeans, corn, cotton, row crops in general across America are in a farm crisis. I'll be having a meeting in the Delta next Thursday, December 11th, our first of 5 strategic planning meetings for the future of agriculture. It'll be in Stoneville next Thursday, and we'll be talking with farmers in the Delta about this, what they see for the future, what we need to do today to prepare for the future of agriculture in Mississippi for the next generation, and that'll be part of the discussion as well as what the president's going to announce next week.
Is that part of a Delta Council meeting or just something separate?
We took the initiative back this fall to launch the Future of Agriculture Resiliency for Mississippi. That's our farm strategic plan, and we're working with private ag leaders, stakeholders to come up with a strategic plan for the future of agriculture because ag is changing. Agriculture has changed. The markets have changed, and we have to be proactive today to make plans for the future and what ag is going to look like in the next 5, 10, 20 years. Agriculture is the most important industry in the state of Mississippi. It's the backbone of our economy. When you consider the ag production coupled with the manufacturing component of that, it's the biggest industry in the state, the number one employer. So we got to get this right. We'll kick this off December 11th in the Delta at Stoneville, and then we'll be traveling to all the regions of the state all the way through March, meeting with farmers, with lenders, with insurance experts about what the future of agriculture is going to look like for Mississippi for the days ahead. And I believe it'll be one of the most important things in my work as Ag Commissioner as we look forward to finalizing that report and those recommendations, both for federal and state policy issues that need to be addressed.
You've been in this office for a while. You've worked with multiple USDA secretaries. You have mentioned favorably Brooke Rollins on a number of occasions. Oh, yeah. What's different about her than perhaps the previous USDA secretary?
The previous USDA secretary, I don't want to say anything bad. I try not to say anything bad about anybody. But
hold on. The commissioner just said, bless her heart. He used different words, but that was bless her heart, and then you proceed to say.
We never heard from them unless it was something that they were wanting to trumpet Joe Biden on. Ag Secretary Rollins is actually coming to us on a regular basis with calls, with updates. We had a telephone call yesterday, and giving us highlights of what's happening, and in real life, important issues. And it's just a breath of fresh air to have that kind of line of communication with the administration, with the White House. And we work with them, not only Secretary Rollins, but with the good folks, Lee Zeldin at EPA. We work a lot with a whole host of cabinet members in the Trump administration, and it is so refreshing. We're not having to fight everything that's coming out of D.C. We're actually working together for the first time in a long time, and look forward to continuing that for the days ahead.
Dixie National dates announced. We got the Dixie National Rodeo and Livestock Show, or Livestock Show and Rodeo. Right. Pretty good music lineup.
February 13th through 15th and 18th through 21st, and we got a good mix of a real good mix of both the up and comers and the great folks who've been around a while. I do know we got Old 60 kicking it off. Baker Blankenship. That's for our young people. Those are selling like hotcakes. Joe Nichols will be back. We're getting Tanya Tucker back here in Mississippi.
Hey,
that's right, on February the 18th. That's on Wednesday. Waylon White, Muscadine Bloodline, and we'll wrap it up with the one and only Mark Chestnut. So I tell folks, don't wait. Get your tickets now. All right.
You know what that list of performers made me do?
What?
It made me miss Joe Diffie, because I feel like Joe Diffie would have been there. He would have been part of this lineup.
Yeah.
Commissioner Andy Gipson, thanks as always for your time. Great visiting with you.
Thank you. God bless you. We'll see you all at the Dixie National.
We're back with you after this 8 o'clock hour on the way.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go. Now back to Mornings with Richard Cross.
Now that's entertainment.
It won't be the same, dear, if you're not here with me. And when those blue, it's snowflakes, it start falling. That's when those blue memories, it started calling.
Nothing says Christmas like. You said that's your favorite Christmas song.
Oh yeah, by far.
I feel like that is that's offensive to the one and only Steve Azar.
Well, I love Steve's.
The writer and the singer of Catfish Christmas.
I know if it was not 2 minutes and 4 seconds, the long one, I would play that. But no, I will get Catfish Christmas in. And I love Steve.
Catfish Christmas.
I love that song. It's a great song. Steve's so talented, but man, it's just growing up with Porky Pig, that's nostalgia right there, baby.
That's all, folks. Good to be with you this morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, 8 o'clock hour. I told you, and we don't do this very often. I have some things and some directions that I want to go right now, including a conversation about financial accountability as it pertains to the government. Talking point or actual thing that is happening with USDA. But want to open it up to you as well. What's on your mind this morning? You can ask anything. You can suggest the topic if you would like to. Who knows? This might become a thing going forward. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community. At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey, looking to manage your personal finances. Our banking services make it simple, secure, and tailored to you. Ready to grow your business? We offer expert guidance and custom solutions to help your business thrive. Dreaming of a new home? Our mortgage specialists are here to make the process seamless, all designed with you in mind. We're more than just a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Find them online at communitybank.net for a location near you. The C Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. cspire.com is your home to keep up with everything that's happening at C Spire, whether it's for personal, wireless, or home internet, or for business. Small businesses, C Spire can help. Enterprise software, they've got all the answers, or at least some of the answers for you. They'll help work with you to figure out the answer that is best. C Spire, an advanced technology company, not just a phone company, that transforms how people connect, live, and work. Online, cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired. This is Brooke Rollins. I know some of us have mixed feelings about the welfare system, part of which is SNAP benefits, the supplemental nutrition program. And it's easy to just say, oh, I'll let everybody go fend for themselves. But that's not a very compassionate way of looking at things. There are unique situations in which we as people, we as a country, probably need to help. Is it too much to ask, though, to say that the dollars that we allocate for welfare programs or any entitlement programs, and there are a lot of entitlements that are out there, there's a lot of subsidy that's out there. So is it too much to ask for accountability with those programs? Where is the money going? Who's getting the money? How is it being distributed? Is there fraud? If there is fraud, how do we fix it? How do we identify fraud? Well, one of the ways that we identify fraud, especially when it comes to SNAP, is having data to back up where the money's going, who it's going to. And Brooke Rollins says that this is going to be part of SNAP going forward, that states will be required to share data on criminal use of SNAP benefits. It is happening in all 50 states and all the territories, every single one of them. It's happening right here in Mississippi. It's happening in Tennessee. It's happening in Texas. It's happening in New York. It's happening in California. Nobody is immune to fraudulent use of taxpayer money. And so as a first step in this, as it pertains to SNAP benefits and this program being rolled back out, Brooke Rollins has said states are going to have to provide data on where the SNAP money is going. And if there is criminal fraud, they're going to have to report that. 29 states have said yes, 21 states have said no. Here's Brooke Rollins in her own words.
We asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states, and that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, the blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer. As Joe Biden was working to buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now as we continue to roll that back.
All right, so do you have an issue with that? Let's not make it federal for a second. Let's make it personal. let's say that you are donating money, your money, to an organization, a charitable organization. Let's use our good friends at Palmer Home as an example. We talked with Madison Drake a couple of days ago about Giving Tuesday and about some of the things that Palmer Home is doing for children. We believe that Palmer Home is an outstanding organization that does incredible work and they don't take any government funding. One of the things that we've encouraged you to consider doing is making a monthly donation to Palmer Home to help sustain the work that they're doing. You can set it up where it's just drawn out of your checking account on a monthly basis. So let's say that you agree to do that. Is it wrong if you are giving $10 or $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 a month to Palmer Home? Just as an example, for you to reach out to Madison, who we talked with in their giving department, to reach out to Drake Bassett, the executive director, to reach out to the people that work on the inside of Palmer Home and say, hey, can you show me how my money is being used? Do you have a report that you can show me that proves that this money is being used in a responsible way and it's being used in the way that you've told me it's being used? Do you have an audit, perhaps, that where you've engaged with an auditor so that you can prove that you're doing what you say you are doing with the money? And you know what the folks at Palmer Home would say? They'd say, absolutely. Here's a copy of our annual report. Here's a copy of our financial statement, at least what they're able legally to reveal to you. Let's sit down and have a conversation. I promise you. I don't think I'm going out too far on a limb here. I promise you the people at Palmer Home would be willing to have a conversation with you about where your money is going and how it is being used. Because they're accountable to their donors. They're accountable to the people who are giving to the work that they're doing. It's not even a complicated concept because they have nothing to hide. But when it's the federal government, nearly half of the states in the United States, 50 of them total, 29 red states, have said, yes, we are more than happy to share the data because we, like you at the federal government level, specifically with the USDA, we want to know where that money's going. We want to be accountable to the taxpayers who, through their taxes, are helping fund the benefits that are going out to those who need it through SNAP. But we also want to recognize where criminal fraud is happening, and we want to root that out. That's the accountability process that we're making to you. But 21 states, and you heard Brooke Rollins say it, including New York, California, Minnesota, Oregon, New Jersey, and others, 21 blue states, have pushed back and they have refused to provide that data to the USDA. And so Brooke Rollins says it's really simple. No more SNAP funding for the programs in your state until you provide the data as to where the money is going, where fraud is happening, and what we can do in working in conjunction with you to get rid of the waste, to get rid of the fraud, to get rid of the criminal activity. Why? Why do those 21 states not want to give that data? Why are there 21 states with Democrat leadership that go, no, we are not passing that data along to you? Does that make any sense? It doesn't to me.
From the Venable Glass Trap.
It's time to switch on Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Yeah!
It's gonna be a catfish Christmas. Santa's on the lake. He's trading his whip for fishing pole and a John boat for his sleigh. With with a red life jacket and a tackle box. He's bringing his ice chest bill to the top. It's gonna be a catfish Christmas, reeling in the holiday.
Tell him about it, Brother Azar. It just might be a catfish Christmas. Maybe the most Mississippi Christmas song of all time.
Yeah, I would eat fried catfish anytime, so even at Christmas.
What is what's Steve's title? Ambassador of Culture?
Cultural ambassador to Mississippi.
Matthew McConaughey's the cultural ambassador for the University of Texas. Steve Azar is the cultural ambassador for the great state of Mississippi. Thanks, my friend. And along those lines, don't miss In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, Thursday and Friday afternoons. Always fun, always great conversations. We encourage you to catch that. Your messages, C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. What's up from the Biomed guys at Baptist Hospital in Oxford? We enjoy the show. Thank you, friends. We appreciate that very much. Hope you have a great day. C-Spire text line, that's a big issue people have with taxpayer money used for private school tuition and school choice expansion. It's the same argument. I don't disagree with that. Accountability for where your tax dollars go is not only a good thing, but it's the right thing to do. Also, won't be able to trust the red state data, or data if you prefer, even if they get it. That's not to say, all of this reporting is not to say that the data can't be manipulated. I'm not arguing that. But you sure got to start somewhere. And some manipulated data, some inaccurate data is better than no oversight and no accountability at all. Another message, those 21 blue states are simply opposing Trump. There's something to that. If it comes from this White House, we're against it, period. Good, bad, or otherwise. I feel like there's a dirty little secret that maybe we should say out loud. In some areas, this administration, led by Donald Trump, the President of the United States, is very, very conservative. Very conservative. But classifying Donald Trump and all of his policies, just lumping them all together as overly conservative policies, is mislabeling this president. I said this before, number of times. 1992 Bill Clinton, his policies were, or would be, pretty in line with where most of the Republican Party is today. Now, the left, the Democrats, have gone way to the left. Had a really interesting conversation with a friend yesterday who was kind of talking about what Republicans are doing right now. And he said, I don't think that most of the policies in place are overly right-wing policies. They're just pulling the left back toward the middle a little bit, which honestly is where most Americans would prefer to be. We're so polarized in our politics with the right, the far right, the left, and the far left, that I think that we sometimes lose sight of the fact that most of the United States is fairly centrist. That's why our two-party system has worked so well for so long. I feel like the Obama presidency is where you kind of draw the line. Prior to the Obama presidency, if you go George W. Bush, Bill Clinton before him, George Bush before him, Ronald Reagan before him, there was middle ground. And those presidencies were not overly polarized to the right or to the left. They were more centrist in their policies. And I actually think if you look closely at Donald Trump and this administration, both in his first term and in this second term, with 4 years in between, most of the policies are fairly centrist, but they're labeled as way to the right because they're so far from where most of the left feels on major policies. Some other messages. Are those states that are losing those federal payments doing anything to prevent that from happening? No. What's the point in all of this? They don't want oversight. They don't want accountability. They don't want you to look behind the curtain. They don't want you to examine a spreadsheet that shows exactly where the money is going, who's getting it, where they recognize fraud already exists and are not willing or able or want to do anything about it. Thomas says that compassion is the providence of the church, not government. I think there's a role of compassion that should be played within the government. And Thomas, you and I are free to disagree on that point. He also says that because the officials in those states have created fictitious recipients and are pocketing the money, or maybe they're using funds to fund pet projects. I think that's altogether possible. If a private organization won't tell me where my money is being spent, I can quit giving. I can't quit giving taxes. You're right, you can't quit giving taxes. And so demanding oversight and accountability for the dollars that you are giving to the federal government in hopes that that money is spent responsibly is not at all out of line. Richard, SNAP is government dollars going to private institutions. Well, we've got lots of government dollars that are going to private institutions. Why can we not demand at the very least, accountability that is happening? Richard, my day job, when I'm not texting and bothering you guys, is in ag finance. In your opinion, do you think the reason farmers aren't getting funding as quickly as they needed is the way it might look politically? Hey, we will fund farmers, but they are holding out on SNAP. Well, to me, that is one of the problems that I've had with the Farm Bill in the past and even in the current iteration that's, 6 years without actually being funded, just stopgap funding here and there. SNAP and aid for farmers should not be part of the same bill. They should be independent bills. But Democrats have held Republicans hostage with, if you want farm aid, you got to fund SNAP. However, this is not a one-way street. We saw it in the reopening of the government just a month ago. Republicans also hold Democrats hostage with regard to, you want SNAP benefits, you got to fund the farm bill. It's a two-way street of negligence. The Farm Bill, aid to farmers, subsidies to farmers, disaster payments, benefits that are in place for the farming industry, the agriculture industry writ large, should be a standalone bill. SNAP and all the things that go with it, the other welfare and entitlement programs, should be a standalone bill. But that's not how we operate in Washington, D.C. We put lots of stuff into a single bill so that we can either vilify people for standing against it, voting against it, or we can hold the other side hostage so that we get what we want in order for them to get what they want. There's too much transparency when you make bills stand alone on their own, and you have to be on record as voting yes or no for a specific bill. School choice arguments need to include homeschool subsidies as well. A number of states have already implemented this. That's on the C Spire text line. Talking about wasting education, does the state of Mississippi need 177 school superintendents? Couldn't that money be allocated somewhere else? Yes, it could be, and it should be. Walter in Tupelo, 92 Clinton is a Republican. 92 Bush is a Democrat. What a time to be alive. That's from Walter. I agree with you on that, Walter. If Trump is for something that the Democrats are against, then the Democrats become, I don't know. If Trump's for it, they're against it, period. Back with you right after this.
From the Seabrook.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
People want to hear the truth, man. That's what we're going to do.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Thanks for all of your messages coming in on the C Spire text line. We'll try and get to a few more of those before we wrap things up this morning. But right now, it's time for a conversation with Nina Parikh. She is with Film Mississippi. Used to be the Mississippi Film Office. She's the director there, and a new name and I think the same mission. Nina, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Richard. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
And yes, we have the same mission. Same mission.
Same mission, but new name, marketing play there, and certainly a good one. So what's going on at the at the film office at Film Mississippi right now?
Yeah, it's been a busy year. It's hard to believe it's December.
I know.
I think we have had 16 feature films, 3 unscripted series film in the year of 2025. Pretty amazing. I don't know how much you know about my history here at the film office, but I've been here for going on 28 years in my first year here. In the first couple of years, we were lucky to have even 1 or 2 feature films. So we've grown tremendously in the time that I've been involved here at the office, and we don't look like we're slowing down, and hopefully we're going to just keep growing and growing.
That certainly is great news. You know, the film industry has changed so dramatically. There was a time where it was all Hollywood, and then we saw states across the country, specifically southern states, that kind of embraced, hey, you don't have to make films in California and Hollywood. They can be done in Georgia. They can be done in Louisiana. Certainly they can be done in Mississippi. And now there's almost been like a transition away. Some of those states that really embraced the film industry have maybe backed off a little bit, or maybe there's just more options. What is the state of the film industry in terms of where people go and why they go to those places?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, right now it seems like the film industry has just been going through it for many years, but really in the last 5 years, coming off of COVID, of course, that changed things. Then there were strikes in the industry with the writer's strike and the actor's strike. So that changed things. And now the economy is changing things. So a lot of projects that were going to, say, the states like Georgia, who have a very big film industry,
right?
And they've been building infrastructure since the 80s. They were used to getting big Marvel movies and Disney movies and all of that. And those are now, as of this past year and the last couple of years, they're going overseas because economically it makes more sense for those companies. They can save money going overseas right now. We're fortunate in Mississippi, fortunate in a way. We've never had an industry here that could support big, huge studio films. We've always been very much on the independent side, anywhere up to, say, we've had a $40 million film before, but mostly we're in that under $10 million. And those movies are still being made in the United States. So it hasn't slowed down in Mississippi, so we're really fortunate in that way. And because we don't have the infrastructure like a place like Georgia, there's room for growth for us, whereas they're contracting there in some of these other states, and the crew members there, the staff, personnel there. They're looking for work, and some of them are moving back home. So we're also benefiting there. So it's a really interesting time for the film industry and an interesting time for us in Mississippi as well to see where we can use our strengths to draw more work here.
You were right when you said I didn't know a ton about your background, and frankly, not a ton about the Film Mississippi entity as it exists. I'm making an assumption here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming Film Mississippi is kind of an apolitical organization, and yet politics in terms of locations, subsidies, infrastructure actually does play a role in where some of these films are made. How do you blend those two things?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We are apolitical. I mean, this is economic development for us. We are looking at it as people come in here and spend, or people that live here make movies, but people also come here to make movies. And so we just want to make sure that we can support that and get those dollars spent in our communities. The balance there is that if you're a big movie and you have a star, you're going to go somewhere where you can benefit economically. If there's no incentive in Mississippi to come here, financial incentive to come here, they're going to go somewhere else. There's competition all around the world, all around the world. So there is a balance there where we do have to have something to draw them here. And once they're here, they're in, which has been an amazing thing to watch. We have producers that have made up to 8 or 9 films here. So they're not just coming once. They're coming here and they're building a crew base here. They're training people. They're bringing people from other places who are then buying houses here. In the case of the show Hometown, which is on HGTV, and they're about to go into their 10th season.
Wow.
I think that they have probably 3 or 4 individuals that have moved from their homes to Mississippi, bought houses, and have been here for years now. So, that continues to happen.
Started in Laurel, and it's kind of branched out a little bit from there, right?
Yeah, the show Hometown itself is in Laurel, but they have little offshoots where they've done, like a special in Wetumpka, Alabama. They just did another one. I can't remember where it was at, but they go over to another state for just a little blip, but their home is here.
Home is in
and
Mississippi.
The show
yeah.
is based here. Yeah.
Is A Time to Kill the film that put Mississippi on the map in terms of, hey, you can do a big film here?
That would be a big one. That was in the 90s, and that's where we were really able as an office. That was right before I started here at the office. That's where we were really able to kind of track the economic impact of a film.
Yeah.
So they were looking at that budget and noticing that on average they're spending about $250,000 in the community where they're filming every week. So obviously that opens eyes. It's like, oh wow, they do actually come here and spend. They have to live here.
That's real money.
So they have accommodations. Yeah, they're shopping at the grocery stores. They're going to restaurants. They're renting equipment. They're buying things at the Home Depots, at the Ace Hardwares, at the pawn shops, at the antique shops. Everywhere. You can see money being spent everywhere in a community with a film because the crew has to live here, they work here, and sets have to be built. So they're creating make-believe worlds oftentimes.
Yeah. Mississippi has such an incredibly rich literary history. Does that play hand in hand with film history? Because I guess at its core, before it becomes a moving picture and you build those sets and all of those things, it starts with writing.
It does start with writing. We have a partnership with the Mississippi Book Festival where we do a program called Script to Screen, or Page to Screen rather, because oftentimes books, novels, stories, it could even be a newspaper story, they become something that wants to be on the screen. And in these days we have screens everywhere. We've got a computer screen, TV screen, the silver screen at the theater, our phones. there's content that needs to be made for all of these screens, so there's no reason for it not to be made here. And because of our rich storytelling history, there's a richness here everywhere, from our William Faulkners to current writers like Kiese Lehman, and then emerging storytellers. And that's a huge focus of ours as well, is that we are focused on our emerging storytellers here in Mississippi. I read this article this morning about basically the artistic and the passionate side of filmmaking, not just the business side. I'm often, immersed in the business side of filmmaking and not so much in the art, but we do dabble in that too, because oftentimes our filmmakers here in Mississippi, they're not at a point yet where they're making millions of dollars on their movies. They're making movies because they have something to say. They want to stir an emotion. They need to share some history with the rest of the world. And this article was about that sometimes it isn't about the economics. It is about the art of it and educating. And we have that happening all over the state at the local level. There is a filmmaker named Michael Williams who's in West Point, Mississippi. And I met him when he was still in high school many years ago. He participated in the Tupelo Film Festival as a high school student and made a short film. And from there, he's gone on to have his own business. He's made 3 feature films, and it was the 10-year anniversary of his first feature film called Ozland, which was based on The Wizard of Oz, and it was kind of a faith-based story. It was really interesting, to kind of be a part of his evolution as a filmmaker and continue to see him grow. And he's not the only one in the state that's doing that. So it's pretty incredible.
You got time to hang with me for just a few more minutes?
I'd love to.
Let's do that. We got to take a quick break. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. How has the change from the box office to streaming services changed the film industry, specifically in Mississippi? And what is the most critically acclaimed film that has ever taken place in Mississippi? We'll ask Nina that on the other side of this break. It's Mornings with Richard Cross with you, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for being with us. We're back right after this quick timeout.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
From breaking news to bold opinions, Richard dives into the stories shaping Mississippi and the nation. Now back to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
So grateful for you spending part of your morning with us on Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. Nina Parikh is my guest right now. She's with Film Mississippi. She is a director there. Do you ever dabble in making films yourself?
I have. I studied filmmaking at the University of Southern Mississippi to the top, and New York University, and I worked in the industry for 6 or 7 years before I was here at the film office. And I produced a film called Ballast, which was made here in Mississippi, and it did well at the Sundance Film Festival and was nominated for some awards. So
there you go.
Yeah, I do dabble. So when I talk to filmmakers, I'm talking their language, and that's something that's been an asset in our office for quite a while. Ward Emling, who is my predecessor, also worked in the film industry. And so when filmmakers come to us, they know that they're not just talking to a government employee. We also speak their language. We know what's going on. We know what they need. So.
Not just shuffling around spreadsheets and looking at dollars, but understanding the creative side of it. That's really cool. So I floated this out before the break. We know that box office is different than it once was. Certainly major, or at least most of the major films still go directly to theaters, but we're in this era where so much of the content that is produced goes directly online, whether it's a Netflix or a Paramount Plus. We've seen whether you like the genre or not, like all the success that Taylor Sheridan has had in terms of producing content directly for Paramount with a number of shows or series that are there. How is that different? And ultimately, is it good? Have we as consumers gotten used to being able to get some of the content just online through streaming services and not having to go to the theater?
Is it good? I don't know. That's a big question there, Richard. I think that there is some good. I think for filmmakers around the world, specifically here in Mississippi, since that's who I work with, it does give filmmakers that are not Steven Spielberg an opportunity to get their work out there. So I think that's a huge plus. Now, that means there are a lot more of them putting work out there. So you're going to have to figure out how to float to the top. You know, how do you create the buzz yourself without a studio to create that buzz for you? And so that's the big question. You know, how do you become viral in some way so that your work gets seen? I'm become aware of a new platform or a new kind of medium, I guess, for filmmaking called verticals. So those are made specifically for your phone, you know, so it's a vertical, not horizontal like your television or your theater, where they are episodic in nature, but they're only 1 to 2 minutes long, and there might be, 80 episodes. And so you're watching them in little bite-sized pieces, which, like, really, who watches that? But apparently a lot of people watch that. It's a growing format for the industry. And we were at events in Los Angeles and New York 2 months ago. And for the first time, we had filmmakers telling us that they were making these verticals now, that they were being hired to do that in the midst of this whole reimagining of the film industry and these big movies going overseas. The film industry is going to figure out how to continue to create content, and apparently verticals is the next wave of filmmaking endeavors for a certain audience. And so I think that's just going to continue to happen, the innovation of how do we tell stories, where do they go, how do we get them to people? And apparently verticals, particularly in other countries, are doing very well and starting to do very well here. So kind of imagine like the romance novel beach read, those kinds of stories.
You can pick it up and put it down.
Exactly.
That's really fascinating to me, because to me that would be the Instagram/TikTok-ization of the film industry. Yes. Because you remember, we're not that far removed from, if you were taking a picture of someone and you tried to take it vertically, you were a doofus. You were an old that didn't know what you were doing. You had to turn it to landscape to take that picture. And now if you try to take a picture in landscape of somebody, they're like, hey, can you do one up and down so I can put it on Instagram?
Yeah, exactly. Well, so I teach a class on filmmaking to college students, and I used to say, if you shoot vertically, you're getting a 0. Well, I can't say that anymore because now there's this new format.
Yeah, but
okay.
That's incredible. It really is crazy how we adapt and we evolve. I just teased it before the break. Most critically acclaimed film that has ever been filmed in Mississippi. Is it The Help? Is it Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Is it A Time to Kill? Is it something else?
I am going to say Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Okay.
Box office it did well, critically it did well. People still talk about it. It's like, it's kind of the, I won't say cult classic, but kind of in that realm. If it comes on TV, you're going to stop and you're going to watch it. At least I do.
Yeah.
There are lines from that movie that people just, like pop culture, you just know those lines. I'm going to say Oh Brother. And
I'm a Dapper Dan man.
I'm proud of that one. Exactly. So I'm going with Oh Brother.
Nina, thanks so much for your time this morning. Wish you a happy holiday season. Great to visit with you, and let's talk again soon.
Thank you, Richard. Have a good one.
You as well. That does it for us. Mornings with Richard Cross. Have a great Thursday.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.